Hey everybody, welcome into the recruiting rundown here on Gamecock Central. Kendall Smith and Wes Mitchell joining you here, and Wes caught me like posing at the beginning of the show. So we're
We're
in
gonna
great
leave that
spirits.
too.
We're leaving that in. We are,
Yes.
but we are in great spirits here today because we are back. We're talking recruiting here on the recruiting rundown because what else would we talk about? But before we get there, Wes, what's up? How are you? I haven't talked to you in a minute. I mean, I've texted you a couple times, but we haven't spoken on the show in a couple weeks. So what's going on?
I'm good. The portal window is over. Thank goodness.
So Wes can exhale.
Yeah, that thing is a bear to try to cover. I mean, it's good, it's fun, but it's a lot. It's a lot going on. So, I think college football programs, they start to get a little bit back to normal after that's over. Some real, like, actual traditional high school recruiting going on right now. The team is like, school is in session, so the team is here. The roster is, somewhat close to being finalized. So, yeah, everything's good on Gamecock football land. Everything's good for me, trying to avoid the ice and the snow like everybody else at this point.
I know, I guess it's supposed to snow again here in Charlotte this weekend, and that's kind of crazy. I am not used to this winter weather that's happening. So stay safe out there, everybody. But Wes, as we do kind of wrap up the transfer portal period, I'm curious to know, what is your grade for South Carolina on how well you think they did with the portal this cycle? Like, where are they at in terms of what you think they needed to get and how well they did in achieving that?
Yeah, I think they definitely passed. I mean, it's
No pass fail, no pass fail. A through
okay.
F.
All right. I mean, I'll give them an A minus. I think that it was a really good class. I think that you went out and you filled your needs on the offensive line, both in terms of adding some more high end talent, but also adding some numbers. 8 transfer offensive linemen. You're really trying to not completely rebuild that line, even though that's a word we've used a lot. You do bring 6 guys back from the previous roster who were recruited athletes on scholarship. There's some talent there, which I think is important in that conversation, that you're not going to be all portal guys on the O-line. Like, it's going to be a mix. But that was their biggest, I think, priority, Kendall. I think that's where a lot of their money was spent going out, frankly. And just, you said, hey, we got to put our resources here. Getting a guy like Jacarius Peak, who, literally was the number 1 offensive tackle available in the portal during that window. And that was your biggest need. So I think that was important. I think there were some spots where, would you have maybe at the end of the day wanted to add another edge guy, especially after Desu left sort of kind of at the very end of the process. I think that made it a little bit difficult. Maybe would you wanted another tight end? It was rumored, Mike Smith could have been coming back. That was something that was a possibility for a little bit. He ends up going to Ole Miss instead for various reasons there. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. No portal class is going to be perfect. Like, there's going to be spots where you look at it and say, oh, it would have been nice to add someone there. But I do think in terms of going out and getting their needs and meeting some needs that they did exactly what they sought out to do. And it's been a great offseason for Beamer, going out, getting Kendall Briles, kind of just resetting the offensive side of the ball in a lot of different ways. I like the running backs that they added in the portal class as well. So I think you have put the right guys potentially around Lenora Sellers moving forward.
Yeah, and that's what South Carolina needed. They needed a solid offseason after what we saw this past season. So obviously hoping to carry the momentum from what we feel like is a solid transfer portal class onto the field. Jack Beltry and I were talking about it yesterday on GC Live. He actually gave the grade of an A minus as well, but we were talking about just making sure that, these guys are able to also play well. We're talking about it a lot right now, but we'll see how it goes once the season rolls around. But Wes, now that we are done with the transfer portal and you can take a big sigh of relief, it's not quite over for recruiting. It never really is. There's always something else going on. So on the schedule, what is next for South Carolina in terms of recruiting?
Yeah, so right now it is a big focus on high school recruiting. You're a class of 2027, your class of 2028, and even some 2029. So right now, as we're doing this on Thursday afternoon, staff is on the road. If you're big on social media. If you're on, Twitter/X, you've probably seen prospects, hey, thank you, Coach Beamer, for dropping by. Thank you, Coach Kendall Briles, for dropping by. Like, these visits actually used to be during a prospect's senior year, like later in the process. Now you can do it for juniors. And it's true, like, sit down, hang out, talk about where things are, get a little recruiting pitch in there, and set things up for junior days. And of course, there are already guys setting official visits. So right now, you're seeing schools go ahead and try to get guys to commit to, hey, the third weekend of June, I'm going to come on my official visit, or the second weekend of June, I'm going to come on my official visit. So schools and players are both kind of getting those things locked in. And, I think it's one of those things that's maybe not as exciting of a time for fans in terms of like following the transfer portal probably was. It's not as like bells and whistles, but it is still a very important time in terms of like laying foundations, getting out, seeing those high school coaches that are going to be important, gathering information on players. So right now what you're seeing is new offers go out, and you're seeing official visits get set. South Carolina was supposed to have a junior day last Sunday. Well, that was when, that night, the night before, and that afternoon was when the ice was supposed to be bad here in Columbia. So out of trying to be safe, they canceled that. So now there's supposed to be one this weekend as well, and we'll just kind of see what the snow ends up looking like, Kendall.
So we have the junior days coming up, and then you mentioned those official visits. And as we get deeper and deeper into spring, we'll talk about those even more. And we're giving a thumbs up for that because we're very excited. Oh, even fireworks. We are thrilled, everybody, about these official visits.
We do have the bells and whistles, apparently.
We'll have scheduled. I guess we do. You spoke too soon. But Wes, a reminder for everybody watching, those official visits will run when?
So typically we've seen South Carolina do 3 in June. I'll have to look ahead at the exact dates for the recruiting calendar this year. It shifts a little bit. Typically in your modern calendar, July has kind of been a dead period. And, some schools have done May as well and used those weekends. South Carolina typically, I feel like, has shied away from that and have gone kind of all in on June. But this year, we actually are already tracking. I think there's 3 guys that have set officials for that May 1st weekend for South Carolina. So I think we're seeing it get spread out and expanded a little bit more. And if you think about it, it used to be, hey, a prospect can only take 5 official visits. And so that was just, that was it. If you take your 5, you can't take a 6th. Now the prospects are allowed to take more than 5. So it kind of was a situation where you didn't really run out of weekends to have guys in because the guys would run out of their own official visits. Well, now, if a kid's going to take 6, 7, 8 officials, you may need to say, well, maybe we need to host guys on more weekends. And so we'll see how that shakes out. I haven't been told specifically, they're going to host guys all through May by anyone, but that May 1st weekend has been one where guys have started to set those OVs. So I think that would be something to keep an eye on. But June is also when you have those high school camps where players are in, going through camp with the coaches. That's typically kind of your juniors and your sophomores, your younger guys. But June is just an absolute battlefield for college coaches. Like, it is one of the most busy months of the entire year.
Yeah. Well, we'll certainly keep all of you updated over on GamecockCentral.com. Before we get out of here, Wes, quickly for you, back to the transfer portal. We know the big names that South Carolina was able to pick up, but who is your sleeper guy? Who is your guy that South Carolina picked up in the portal where you're like, he could be sneaky good next year and maybe people aren't giving him all of the attention he deserves?
Put me on the spot, Kendall. I will go.
You didn't know I was asking any of these questions, by the way. We just went with it.
We just riff. Give me Jabri Wallace-Coleman from Penn State because the running back, he redshirted last year. Obviously, his position coach is now at South Carolina. So if there's anybody who knew what he was capable of, Stan Drayton just spent a year at practice with him. So he had a firsthand look at what he is capable of. So he has not played in college ball yet. But I think the fact that Drayton wanted to bring him to South Carolina with him after he entered the portal says something. You go back and look at his high school tape. He was a 4-star kid out of high school, was committed to Georgia at one point. Last I checked, UGA, they have a pretty high threshold for the type of player they're going to pursue at the running back position historically. Yeah. So, you throw on his tape. I don't know if it's a senior year or junior year. One of them I found. Very first clip, he looks like Marshawn Lynch out there just throwing guys off of him, breaking tackles, running 80 yards with the whole team on his back. So I was like, okay, I didn't know whether to be excited about this guy at first, but now I am. So I think both those backs, Christian Clark from Texas and Jabri Wallace-Coleman from Penn State, I think they're both very talented dudes. I think Clark has a little bit more buzz right now. People are excited about him, and rightfully so. But I think Wallace Coleman fits into your category there of like, all right, don't forget about this guy just because he maybe hasn't done as much as maybe some of those other guys that are in this portal class.
Yeah, and that's got to be music to South Carolina fans' ears because we talk about position groups that needed some love here in this portal cycle. Obviously, the O-line was the first one that came to mind for majority of people, but South Carolina had some work to be done in their running backs room, and they certainly were able to do that. So we'll see how those guys pan out on the field. But Wes, hopefully we're able to chat next week. If we're not, though, because I'm going away for 2 weeks to the Olympics, I've got to know, did you know that? Oh, I thought I told you that. Okay, we'll have to talk about that after. I'm going to Milan for the Olympics, but I've got to know Super Bowl, Seahawks, Patriots, what you got. I think I know your answer because we talk about recruiting, and this is my favorite recruit of all time, who is now a Seattle Seahawk.
I was about to say, you're going Nick E. You have to, I feel like.
I have to. Now, I will say the May family, they're from the Charlotte area, and my brother played baseball with Cole May, who's Drake's older brother. So they're an amazing family, just
very athletic family, right?
Yeah, very athletic. Everything that you see about them is so true, like just a fantastic family. But Nick Emanwari, I mean, come on. He gave one of the most iconic quotes ever. And I just loved that interview with him over at Irmo High School. And then look at him now. He's crushing it. Did I see Richard Sherman said that he should be the defensive rookie of the year?
Yeah. No, he did. I mean, I got to go with Nick, too. I mean, you have to. Ernest Jones is on that team as well. Marcellus Dial is on the Patriots, but has been hurt. So, I think the Seahawks are the best team. Like, I really do.
I would agree.
The Patriots have a little bit of kind of destiny thing going for them, I feel like, right now. So, I think we're in line for a really good Super Bowl. I think it'll be tight, but even, I think the Seahawks have the better defense. Sam Darnold, I was like, he's eventually going to be the reason why they don't make it to the Super Bowl, and he has played incredibly well. So credit to him. I'll take the Seahawks.
Sam Darnold is amazing because he's basically the reason why I won my fantasy football league with 14 teams last year. So,
So you have another reason to pull for the Seahawks.
I do, but the May family, they're so – I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to be watching it, everybody. I'm going to be in Milan. I don't know what time it's going to be in Europe by the time the Super Bowl starts. 4 a.m? I have no idea.
What a show off. What a show off. Everybody likes to show off. Sorry, guys. We'll be at the Olympics.
Okay. On that note, I'm out.
All right.
Just kidding, everybody.
She's Kendall Smith. Thank you for joining us.
You do my job. Take us out.
The recruiting rundown. And we'll see you if Kendall ever comes back from the Olympics. Thank you for joining us. For Kendall, I am Wes, and we'll see you soon.